Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video to the channel. So in this video, we're going to be going over, I think, the best multi-money making methods in the game. It's something we've actually not done a video on in a very long time, and it's one of those methods which actually turn Herblore into an amazing profitable method. Now, I've mentioned this method a couple of times. We're going to be collecting Cave Nightshade for weapon poisons, and we're going to be doing a sort of in-depth video and guide through the wet poison process because there's so many different things you can do in the meantime while making these wet poisons. So to do this method, what you need to do is have at least started the Watchtower quest, and the important item you need for this is the scabbard map. Now, if like me, you finished the Watchtower quest many years ago and you've lost the scabbard map, what you need to do is come to the Ogre City again, which is a little bit south of Yanil, and speak to the city guards here. These are the ones who will give you the map back, and basically what you need to do is talk to them and just say, I've lost the map you gave me, then they will give that back to you. Not only with that, you also need to have a light source. So if you just grab any form of lantern, then we can get talking through the main method. So one thing I would highly recommend, if you have the Grace of the Elves, this is going to be a real big benefit. Worst case, just take some porters with you, or worst case than that, take some magic notepaper, because I believe you can use magic notepaper as well. Basically, one way where we can sort of do a stint here and like do a nice little bit of time just picking these nightshades. So the points of the nightshade is we want to be doing something on the side as well. So one thing I highly recommend, if you people want to enchant bolts, you can do that as well. I'm going to do a slightly different method. I'm actually going to go and screen some soil. Now, because I've got the ability to use the top tier of the soil box, I can take a total of 2.5k soil without having to bank. So that's what I'm going to take. But really, a really good way to make some profit is by enchanting standard bolts. Onyx and Ascendary will make you something like 7 to 8 mil per hour without the actual worth of the nightshades as well. So because of what the nightshades are, I roughly estimate they're going to be about 20 to 25k each per pick, but you can do whatever you want to do as well. Now, if you're going to take screen soil, probably take a couple more of the porters because you're going to need them, because you're going to be using the porters as well. We are now prepared to go and get some of these cave nightshades. So again, running through the items you're going to need. The scabbard map, which again, we've just shown you guys how to get it. You're going to need some magic notepaper or some porters with the Grace of the Elves, a light source, some gloves, and as well, whether it's bolts or soil, whatever you're going to do in the meantime. Again, there's plenty you could do, whether it's like protein hide, enchanted bolts, sifting soil, whatever you can do while waiting, because you are going to wait for these to respawn. So what I'm going to do is then run south into this cave entrance, and this is going to show us the cave nightshade. So walking in, all the cave nightshade is here, and basically what you want to do is sort of run around and pick between these spots. Now, because I didn't have my gloves on, they didn't do that. But as you see, the porters are going to go and send them to the bank, and then basically once they are all picked, you have to wait for them to grow back. And this is what's going to give you the downtime to go and do all the other methods. So for me, I'm going to go and sift soil. And what I'll probably do is just pick a soil, sift it. And then once all of the spawns are back, that's when I'll go around and pick again. Enchanting bolts is perfect for this. Sifting soil, you will need to bank it points, which is a little bit annoying. But bolts, you can stay here for as long as you've got porter charges. Now, if you don't have a Grace of the Elves, you can just take a porter and then they will just bank it as well. But you can also use magic notepaper. Because I'm sifting soil, the porter is useful because it's going to send the materials I get from the sifting of the soil to the bank for me anyway. And then when the cave nightshade is grown again, you just run around and just go and pick it again. And that's the only sort of like difficult thing with this method, is that you're going to have some downtime where you need to be doing something. But what this is basically going to be is you banking this Herblore secondary, which is roughly valued around 20 to 25k, along with the money making method you're doing on the side as well, which is going to make you even more profit. Now, this sifting soil method is roughly about 14 mil per hour. That's profit. So once you sort of like count in all the cave nightshade I'm going to get per hour as well, that's just more money on top of it. And I could be doing this money making method, whether sat at the bank or whatever. Yes, I'm losing a little bit of money because I'm having to use porter charges, which is why I'll kind of always nudge towards doing things like bolts. Bolts, you don't have to do things like this. It's just pure profit from enchanting, which is why it's so good for this method, and why while I was doing it on meep 272, we enchanted an awful lot of bolts, and I got a lot of magic XP just from enchanting because I was doing this as well. I think on meep 272, we did the best part of like 3,000 to 4,000 cave nightshades, which then gave me so much technically free Herblore XP because I gathered the main sort of like parts of the potion. So now we've got a couple of cave nightshades. This is basically how I do this method. Again, highly recommended things like enchanting bolts, but also you can do various forms of protein. You can do numerous things. You can do broad arrows. You can do anything you really want to. You can make headless arrows. So many different things. So where we're going to go to now is going to cover the other parts of this method. So I'm trying not to make this video too long, so I'm going to be a little bit quick with what we do for the rest of it. So I'm going to throw everything into the bank, and then we can move on forward. So for this method, there's another part of the potion. Also got a blueberry special the other day. Not salty about that at all. So the other thing we're going to need is coconut milk. And this is also one of the easiest money makers in the game. Like, I'm surprised people don't really do this on like a starter account. Yes, a price for coconut is a little bit expensive on the outset, but if we look for a price of coconut, that is going to be just under 7,000 coins. And if we break that open and then use that, a price of the coconut milk is going to be 9.2k. So we've just made 3.2k profit just from cracking open a coconut. And again, it's just stupid. So what we're going to do next is we're then going to buy a coconut milk as well. Just to check the price, because coconut milk, again, I've had a few massive flips on coconut milk because there's just not the volume in the Grand Exchange that you need it to be. And that's just prove it there, because that's just sold a good 3k over mid price. So for that coconut, which we just spent a grand, well, let's just buy a coconut just to show you the price. Even if you're not interested in doing the method of making the anti-poisons, you could just crack coconuts and make bank while you're sat at the bank. So we just turned 7,000 coins into 12.3k. So 5.3k profit, and you just saw what it took me to do it as well. Right, so now we're here. So we've now got some coconut milk, which I'll go and get a vial to do that as well. And we now have our cave nightshade. So the only other item we need, because I forgot it's free for this potion, is going to be a poison ivy berry. Which for this, you don't need to grow them. They're so cheap. Just buy your own. It just takes a little bit of profit out of the potion, but you're going to be making that much profit. It's not really worth it. It's 400 GP each. Right, so if I just crack open that, done, and then just use that, and then we've got our coconut milk. So if we make our weapon poisons unfinished, and again, with the Wasteless Herblore scrolls, you can save like cave nightshades as well, which is always a bonus. It just means your supplies will stretch a little bit further. So that's what's made us a weapon poison plus, which we're now going to sell on the Grand Exchange, and I can show you guys what the profit's going to be. These are very sporadic though. Sometimes you do need to hold your price, but the fact it's instant sold for that price really isn't too bad. So that's the first part of this method, and to do that actually, let me just show you what level you need. Weapon Poisons plus only require level 82, which actually isn't horrific. Now, what I did on the little meep 272 is then upgraded these to a Weapon Poison triple plus. Now, all this required was some very cheap sort of additional ingredients. One was a primal extract, which again wasn't too much. Again, that's slightly up in price because of the double XP, but again, not too expensive. And also some, was it slime, cave slime? Again, very cheap secondary. So basically what this is now is, because you're still making profit on the +3 anyway, it's technically free Herblore XP. So if we can get some poison slime. So I've had to buy those for a little bit expensive, but I would 100% check the margin. I'll try and sell one. Again, I bought these in a rush because I wanted to make the video. As you can see, it's just volume. So we've bought that for 1.7k and they're not selling for 155 coins. So if you put something like 300 coins, you'll probably pick that up. But anyway, we're going to make with a primal extract potion. So we're going to get 700 XP for this. And this is almost overload level XP. And one thing I've noticed is we must have had a perk or a benefit, which we made a +4 weapon poison. So the actual price was 26k for the weapon poison anyway. So weirdly enough, turning this into a triple plus, we're losing money, but again, we're still in profit from the cave nightshade, so we're going to transform this into a triple plus, and then we're going to sell this on the Grand Exchange as well to see what price we can get. Again, you only need one poison slime and one of the primal extract, so that was only about 2.5k. But again, we've sold a bracket free for 2.9. I'm just going to check what a bracket free of the +2 was. Weapon poison, because we must have had something perk, which meant we made a 4 dose instead of a 3. So I'm just going to price check this, and then we can just run through numbers. Again, that was a crazy margin, so I'm going to buy some of that. So now we've sold everything, we can go through numbers. So in terms of making the potion, what we need to buy for the weapon poison double plus is a coconut milk for a price of 12,000 coins, and then the poison ironberry for a price of 400. So for 12.5k, we can then, along with our cave nightshade, turn that into 26,000 coins. So then that values the cave nightshade at 12.5k each, which isn't as much as what I expected. When I did it last time, it roughly put it at 20,000 coins. But because you've got benefits now where you're going to make extra potions, you're going to use a portable well, you've got the Dungeoneering Scroll, which is going to save you a couple of cave nightshades as well. I think that's going to bump the price up to around 17.5k as well. And then for the addition of 2.5k, again, those poison slime, you just need to put an offer in. They'll buy for 500 coins. You can then turn that into a weapon at triple plus, make a tiny bit more money, maybe 1,000 coins per potion. But what you're getting with a triple plus is going to be 700 XP for herb. So this triple plus is basically free Herblore XP. The double plus is where you're going to be making your profits. But doing that method, you're collecting those cave nightshades at roughly about a 15 to 17k valuation while doing other things. Don't just do this cave nightshade method and just sit and wait for them to respawn. You need to be doing some form of enchanting or some form of training to make it worthwhile. And then whenever they've regrown, then go and do something while you're waiting them to respawn once you've picked them as well. So again, really solid method. Definitely something which 7-Day Bond's going to be doing as well. Enchanting bolts, sifting soil, doing proteins, all these different things will make you some significant profit while doing this method, which is going to make it even better. If you do the right thing, this method could quite comfortably be 25 mil per hour, along with some serious Herblore XP if you wanted to do it that way as well. If you're looking for some cheap Herblore XP where you'll make a little bit of profit, you can look at buying those double pluses, and you can see on the Grand Exchange price, it had a massive margin. If you bought these for 15k each and you wanted to turn triple pluses, you could make something like 10, 11k per potion just by finding something niche like that as well. However, that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Again, I knew I wanted to make a more in-depth video on this because it's highlighted quite a lot of things. Turning coconuts into coconut milk, make huge profit. Gathering cave nightshades, make huge profit while doing something else. And also, triple plus weapon poison can either be really, really cheap XP, or if you get the right price on a double plus, it'll be huge profits as well. But thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed, please make sure to leave me a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys very soon in the next video.